Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bio. This week I'm going to be talking all about bios. So this show is called Beyond the Bio, as you know, and normally we talk about all things that will contribute to your bio, but we've never actually spoken about a bio. What a bio is, what should be contained in it, where do you use them, how do you use them, how do you make yours stand out? So I thought it might be helpful to go back to the basics around your bio. First things first, have you got a bio? Is it compelling and unique to you? When you start getting more visible and you're doing all the great things that we speak about on this show every week, you're likely to be asked for a bio on a pretty regular basis. So it's really a great idea to make sure that yours is always ready to rock. So you get that request and you can just send it straight off. It makes you look super sleek. It will help you to nab opportunities as and when they come up, because often it's fastest finger first. So really, really important, because this bio should be the staple asset of everything in your profile toolbox. You're going to need it for things like speaking, award entries, and any media requests. And if you get around to writing that book, and we've been covering books quite a bit recently on Beyond the Bio, you're going to need it for your author bio towards the back of your book as well. I find that most people tend to either not have one, or they have one that's a bit CV-like or maybe a bit boring, and it could be a case that actually you could just swap it out for anyone else's name and it's not really unique to them. So perhaps your bio needs a bit of work. I mean, the other thing with bios is that you need to keep them updated. So I tend to update mine annually. If something mega happens at some point during the year, it might be that I do an update throughout the year, but typically I would review mine annually. It's a good idea to have a short bio and a long bio, because depending on what the bio is being used for, that will influence how long it needs to be. So it's great to give them an option and then to allow them to choose which one they want to use for whatever purpose it is that the bio is being used for. I tend to keep my short and long bio in the same document, and I send that to anyone that's asking for it so that they can choose the one that best fits their requirements. So I think my document is just literally Sophie Milliken, current short and long bios, and then maybe the year at the end of it. I send it in a Word document, so it's really easy for them to copy and paste into whatever they're using it for. So super, super simple. And then I say to them, if you need to edit it in any way, just go for it, as long as you're using the information that's in there. So if you want to review yours, or if you're creating it from scratch, it might be useful to just grab a blank piece of paper, or if you're a bit fancy and you're into your tech, then do it in your notes app or do it in something else, or you're using one of those fancy notepads that all the tech people are using. And just think about these following questions. So what is your industry experience? First of all, maybe you just want to put a few bullet points down here and just a few thoughts of things that very broadly relate to your industry experience. What is your industry experience? Well, within this, you could have perhaps how many years you've been in the industry, if that is relevant. You might want to talk about some huge brands that you've worked with, if that's something that is going to wow people reading your bio. It might be that you have been given an award for something within your industry, or you might be someone that's asked to commentate in the media about your particular topic. So anything at a high level that is impressive relating to your industry. Next up, I want you to think about what are your relevant academic or professional qualifications, or perhaps any industry accreditations that you have. With this one, you would have, if you've got a relevant degree, then you might want to include that. Maybe you've done an MBA or a master's in something that's super relevant to your area. If it's something that's not relevant, so, for example, I've got a couple of degrees, but neither of them are really relevant to what I do anymore. My first degree was in retail management, which was relevant for me to get a place on the John Lewis grad scheme after uni. But is that relevant to anything that I do now? No, so I leave that out. My second degree was a master's in HR management. Again, it was relevant to the role that I had at that point, again at John Lewis. It's not really relevant to anything now, so I don't have those in my bio, but I am studying part-time at Durham University doing a PhD in female entrepreneurship, which actually is relevant to a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. So that is included in my longer bio at the moment. And actually, if I was maybe speaking at a university event and they asked me for a bio and they just wanted a short bio, I'd probably stick it in that as well. So it's thinking about everything that is relevant. And finally, question 3 for you to think about. What is something a bit different about you that adds personality and is unlikely to be in the bio of someone with a similar background? So things that you might want to include in here. I mean, I have in my bio, I'm going to read my bio to you actually in a moment, and you'll probably be able to pick the things out that would be a bit different. But I do include a couple of personal things. I talk about the fact that I'm a single parent. I talk about the charity work that I'm involved in, and they are things that really do reflect my personality and are very much unique and individual. This is one of those situations where you need to think about how personal you go, because this is a professional bio, so you want it to retain that professionalism, but you do want to inject a bit of personality into it as well. So just have a little bit of fun with it. Think about how far you want to go. It might just be one line that you add in there, but yeah, make it a little bit fun and a bit more sort of personal. So ideally, for a short bio, you want this to be around about the 150 words marks, maybe even less than 150 words, but definitely keep it under 250. My current bio is 133 words. I counted it so that I could be really clear on how long my short bio is. And my longer one, which I didn't count, I would guess is maybe 500, 600 words. So it gives organisers an option as to which one they want to use. So I'm going to read to you my current short bio, all 133 words of it. Sophie Milliken, MBE, is founder and CEO at Moja Group. Moja work with entrepreneurs and senior executives to amplify their personal profiles and become known authorities in their industries. A multi-award-winning businesswoman and proud solo mum, Sophie also enjoys supporting the North East region. Sophie is co-founder of City Ladies Networking, a networking group for women in business running monthly breakfast events in Newcastle, London and Paris. She is chair of SmartWorks Newcastle and has achieved huge success delivering the aim of doubling the number of unemployed women supported with interview clothing and coaching across the North East. In June 2021, Sophie became a founding ambassador for Every Child Needs a Mentor. Sophie was awarded an MBE for services to business and to education in the 2023 New Year Honours List. So that is my current 133-word bio. It's short, it's snappy, it's a bit fun, I would like to think, within that. You know, it's pretty cool that we are running City Ladies networking events in Paris. So there's a bit of fun in there, and it's definitely personal to me. There is nobody in the world that could swap their name out for that bio, because obviously some of the things in there are completely unique to me, and I really like my bio at the moment. It's cool. So think about what you could do to craft a bio that you're proud of, that includes things that you feel add credibility in terms of your professionalism, your industry knowledge, your wealth of experience, and then also a bit of fun alongside it. I think what you will find from my bio is that it's very clear what I do. It showcases all of my current interests, it gives me credibility, and it does add that little bit of personality. Underneath your bio, you need to include a few other bits. So I would have links to relevant websites. So I would have links to the Moja website, links to the Sophie Milliken website, links to my main social media platforms. So for me, I would include LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram, and then links to any relevant media if appropriate. And this is where you've got to make a bit of a judgment call around how much detail do you want to include in this. And an organiser might be really specific about what it is that actually they want in terms of links. So I quite often include a link to my TEDx talk within this, particularly if it's for a speaking opportunity where it's perhaps not confirmed and I'm just being put forward for something. So yeah, a few ideas with that, and then obviously the longer one does have a bit more detail about all of those things. And like I say, I might well swap it out with various bits and pieces depending on what the purpose is and what else is going on. So I suspect that I know that I will have an update to mine in the very near future because I've got book 3 coming out, which is going to be called From Unknown to Unforgettable, How to Build a Personal Brand That Goes Beyond the Bio, which is linked to this very podcast, and more details will be coming about that very, very soon indeed. So when I am ready to announce the pre-orders for that book, I will stick a line in my bio that talks about the book, when it's coming out, and probably refers to the podcast as well. In fact, I should really have the podcast in my short bio right now. So there's an action for me to take right there. Now that you have an idea as to how to structure your bio, what you might want to do is show it to a member of your team or a trusted friend to get a bit of feedback to make sure that they feel it represents you. Sometimes when we're writing about ourselves, we can be a little bit too modest and we don't blow our trumpets enough. So by showing it to someone that knows you well, that knows about your achievements, it might just put a different spin on it, and they might want to big you up a bit more, and they might help you to sharpen up that bio. So definitely worth doing that. Then it's thinking about, where do you have your bio at the moment? Where does it need updating? You'll have a bio within your LinkedIn profile, for example, within your social media profiles. So which bits can you adapt? Because you don't want the same thing on your socials as you would for a bio for an event. But does it make sense? Does it flow? Is it relevant? Can you tell it's the same person? So worth checking that. And on that point, people really forget to review their LinkedIn bios, and they either have nothing in them, or they're really boring, or they're just like totally out of date. So let this be a reminder to check through your LinkedIn bios as well. Other places might be on your company website, or if you've got a personal website. So again, is it relevant? Have you updated it? Does it showcase all of your achievements? If you are represented on anybody else's website, for example, you want to have a look at that. So for me, I will have a profile on the SmartWorks Newcastle website. So I should check that regularly and make sure that that is my current bio. So loads of places. There's loads of places. In fact, there was something that I was looking at the other day. It was a website that has me on it, and it was really out of date. So it was a good reminder for me to make contact and make sure that they've got all my correct details. So yeah, have a bit of a housekeeping sweep and check where all your bios are. Maybe have a bit of a control sheet around where all your bios are listed, so that you can make sure that you are regularly reviewing and you don't forget about something. And each year, or however often you want to diary these updates, you can go in and make sure that you're doing them all at the same time. I think that would be super helpful. Another exercise that I think is really fun, that I actually did with a client last year, is to write a bio for your future self. So a bio for maybe 2 years' time, 5 years' time, depends how ambitious and how fast-paced your world is, but something that showcases what you want to be in a few years' time. I guess if I was a woo-woo manifestation type, it might be a woo-woo type exercise. But actually, I think there's something really powerful in writing your future bio to get you focused on your objectives right now. So I'm already going through in my head the things that I would love to see in my own bio. So I think I'm going to do this exercise myself, but you should definitely have a bit of a play around with that. And that's probably going to form part of my take action in Thursday's episode, although I've got a few other things that will be super helpful as well, just to keep you on track with your bios. So do check out Thursday's take action episode when that comes out later this week. I hope this episode's been useful. I think it's really important to get focused on our bios and make sure that they represent us well. They are the foundation of so many other things, as I've already said. So really important to just get this key piece of kit in place. Do let me know how you get on with your bios, and perhaps if you just want a second pair of eyes to have a little glance over it and sense check it. Please do tune in on Thursday for the recap episode, because I've got a couple of extra bits that will help you to take action on your bio and make sure that it is super slick. As always, if we're not already connected, please do connect with me over on LinkedIn or Instagram. You will find my details in the show notes. Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.